their shirts as Cook is in. That's driven nicely by Bamber, and he may well get a boundary for his troubles here. Jamie Porter is in pursuit, but it's in vain. That's a lovely shot.
In bowls, and Bamber is going to get runs here. He could probably get 40. Not in control of that shot, but it stays along the ground as this delivery is cut away down to the boundary for 4. There's a short third man. He's got no chance of stopping that. It's powerfully put away. Say they would have done a good job. Porter bowls, and that's 4. Lovely shot. Over pitched, and Mosley comes onto the front foot. Let's see how he does. He bowls, and that's driven for 4. Over pitch delivery this time. This time it bounces in the same area.
Shane Snater begins a new over in towards Ethan Bamber, who gets an outside edge that will whistle down towards third man all along the deck. It wasn't in the air long enough to be a chance for Noah Thane, but it's Snater into Bamber once more, driving, and that's lovely. In front of point for 4, second boundary of the over. Bamber up to 31, 185 for 2.
Critchley moves in, right arm round the wicket to the left-handed Mosley, who reverse sweeps, and is going to pick up 4 runs down towards the sycamore tree.
Halfway through his run-up, in and bowls, and this one is flicked away for 4. It's a lovely shot by Bamber. Misdirected delivery outside the leg stump.
As next delivery, and it was a palpable chance. The net result is 4 runs down to third man. Next delivery, it's just pushed out again on the offside, again picked up by Brown, and all 13 players and 2 umpires head towards the pavilion.
As Snater approaches once more to Mosley, who gets an edge and is taken at slip by Walter, and he bashes his bat against his pad because he's been so comfortable in this innings so far. Bring his own form of devilment into bowl to Malik for the first time, and is that another chance? Has he gone first ball? He stands, and eventually he's going to walk off, and it's 2 in 2 for Snater. 3 slips now in place, and Brown goes into the gully as this is back of a length, and it's off a thick outside edge, and it will scuttle through the slip cordon and go to the fence for 4. So a highest first-class career score of 49. Snater approaches once more, and this is lashed through the covers for a first-class 50 for Ethan Bamber. He's 53 not out. It's come off 75 balls, and that's a nice little landmark for him.
Snater, right arm over the wicket. Bowls to Webster, and Webster, that's a lovely shot. Gets on top of the bounce and punches it to the left of cover.
Critchley tosses the ball from hand to hand before delivering it, and that's swept away for 4 runs down towards the hospitality boxes.
Getting to 100 on this pitch, as this one is short, and he's not messing around with this one. There's no survival in that shot. That's a very good pull shot. Bowls, and Bamber's pulling, and he's going to get runs here, and he's going to get 4 of them. That's a good shot.
Critchley is cut rather more convincingly this time by Bamber, who adds 4 more onto this career best. He's up to 71.
Way in past the umpire, and he comes to Bamber, who hooks that one, and it is not going to be stopped by substitute fielder Robin Dass, who's out there, so another 4 runs to the total.
And yet Essex will try and take advantage of any relaxation here.
As Critchley is in, and Webster is turning that one round the corner. He's picked out the gap, and he's found 4 runs. He leaned into that one. In comes the Essex man. That one's swept by Bamber. He's picked out the gap as well, and he's found 4.
2 slips in the gully in place for him as he comes into bowl to Bo Webster, who drives imperiously through extra cover for 4. Just slightly overpitched, a loosener from Cook. Cook again, and he's forced through the offside off the back foot by Webster. Snater gives chase gamely, but the ball is going to win out in front of the woodland stand for 4. Second boundary of the over.
Towards us. Bowls, and he's caught at slip. A very good catch. That went quick. He was playing off the back foot. Is in. Bowls, and a glorious shot by Barnard Authentic extra cover drive.
286 for 5. Porter is in, and that one's driven through the offside. The two fielders after it. Will they get there before it reaches the boundary? Good sliding stop by Shane Snater, but all he can do is divert it. 290 for 5 remains the score. This one's cut away by Bamber. No one there.
To Barnard balls, and he's edging this one down to third man for 4. Bit unlucky Cook there.
As Porter is into Bamber, full-length delivery, driven straight back down the ground by Ethan Bamber. That's going to be 4 runs. He's inching ever closer. He's on to 96. Porter into Bamber. Oh, it's streaky, but he's done it.
Yes.
Ethan Bamber's found a gap in the slip cordon, and it's run away to the boundary for 4 runs. He can hardly believe it as he holds his glove to the front of his helmet. He gets a hug from Ed Barnard at the non-striker's end, and it's a maiden first-class 100 for Ethan Bamber in 171 balls. He came in last night with his side losing a late wicket, and he's hung around for Warwickshire today. Ethan Bamber makes a century.
Yeah, excellent innings of grit and determination.
In comes Critchley, gives that one a bit of air, and that's pushed out into the offside. This time he will find the boundary, races away for 4 runs, picked out the gap. Critchley in over the wicket on the back foot. Barnard hits that one to point, and that's a dot ball to finish off the afternoon session, in which Essex...
So plenty of little nuances to it, as this is driven nicely by Barnard for 4. Lovely straight drive on the inside of Tom Wesley, over pitch that one by Snater, and Barnard. And then an edge from Barnard that drops short of Walter, who'd let's get a finger on it, but it goes through for 4.
Critchley to Bamber, and he's out. Tame dismissal then, that's Critchley's first delivery is driven for 4. Yep. Just a little sighter to start with, over pitched.
Caught short.
And a repeat. Same delivery, same ball, same shot, same result. Through extra cover for 4.
Into the evening session, very dry as Snater is in. That one's clipped, and he's gone. He clipped that one to mid-wicket, a diving catch from Charlie Allison. Wasn't sure if Smith had hit that into the ground before.
Critchley balls. Johnny square drives and a misfield, and that's gone for 4.
Well, if anyone knows of any, essexcricket@bbc.co.uk, as Thane is in. That's dabbed down by Jarney, and he's going to send Shane Snater chasing this one out of our view. That's gone, though, for 4 out of...
This one he cuts rather more forcefully, and it beats Porter. That's a lovely shot from Jarney. That's another boundary to add to his score. He's up to 19.
Joel Dommett on the bill as Thane is in. That one's pulled by Jarney. He's found the gap, and he's gone for 4. In comes Thane, bowls. Jarney turns that one round the corner. There's a fielder out in the deep, but he won't get there. That's 4 runs to the score.
Barnard, who's averaging 50 in the championship this season, and he's driving this wide of Paul Walter to complete another half-century.
Cook is in. That's driven well by Jarney past the diving fielder in the covers. Lovely shot for 4 runs. As Critchley is in. There's a big appeal, and he's given. Struck on the pads. Jarney has to go for 41.
To avoid the follow-on. This is floated up, and it's going to be launched by Rothesay, back, and into the stand below, as the umpires might find that amongst their kit. Rothesay takes 6. Light is closing in a little bit at the moment as Critchley floats one up, and it's driven straight back at him, and Rothesay is caught and bowled, and the 9th wicket goes, with Warwickshire still 5 runs short of the...
Snater comes around the wicket this time with a shorter delivery, which Hannon Dolby gets out the way of.
But I figure it's what you sign up to.
Good morning and welcome to Chelmsford for day 4 between Essex and Warwickshire in the County Championship. Victoria Polly from BBC Essex Sport with you. I'll be joined momentarily by Richard Wilford as well to take you through from the Warwickshire side of things, and we will be with you all day to see how this match pans out on the final day of play. Warwickshire will resume with the bat on 465 for 9, having narrowly avoided the follow-on yesterday in the evening session. So Essex need to take 1 wicket and then they will be required to bat again. So I guess the 3 questions for us really to ponder, and from what we will see in this opening part of the match on day 4 is how long will it take Essex to get that final Warwickshire wicket, and then what will the Essex lead be by that point? How long then will Essex decide to bat? Will they try and set up a target for Warwickshire to chase for victory, or will there be too much time out of the game and therefore they will just be looking for the draw? And if they do manage to set up that target for victory, then can Warwickshire chase it down? I spoke to Matt Critchley at the end of play last night. Essex taking 7 wickets on day 3. Matt Critchley picking up a fifer, having taken the 2 wickets at the end of day 2 as well. And I said to him, how do you see this one panning out? Is it a draw, or can you set up something for victory? And he said that would be a discussion that they would be having overnight. And now the Essex fielders go into their huddle as the Warwickshire pair make their way out to the crease. Ed Barnard not out on 90, so I guess that's a supplementary question you can add into it as well. Can he reach 100 before Essex can take that 1 wicket they need to end this Warwickshire first innings? He's got Oliver Hannon-Dolby alongside him. He's 1 not out. So they're coming out into the middle. We do have blue skies around. It's been a rather warm and sunny start to the day around Chelmsford and Essex, but there has gradually been a bit more grey cloud moving its way across. Depends which weather forecast you believe as to how much we are going to see today in terms of any rain or showers. So we'll keep our eyes on that. We are going to update the BBC Essex listeners shortly as well in the 11 o'clock news bulletin to tell them what's going on here at Chelmsford. A few of the members and Essex and Warwickshire supporters have turned out today. Probably not as many as we saw yesterday despite that weather forecast, but I guess it depends how this game will pan out over the course of the final day. So we are getting ready to get underway with Shane Snater to resume. We did end up going off for bad light yesterday with a couple of overs remaining after a couple of short balls from Shane Snater resulted in the umpires deciding the light was too bad and that they would need to end things where we were. So Shane Snater has 2 deliveries of his over to complete on the morning of day 4, and it is Hannon-Dolby who will be facing him. Shane Snater on his way in from the Graham Gooch end, and that's a swing and a miss down the leg side from Hannon-Dolby through to Pepper. A bit more of a breeze around today, despite sunnier conditions. It does feel there's a bit more in the air, and you can certainly see that at the moment with the players out on the pitch. Lots of long sleeves around. Not so much in the stands, certainly where this sunshine is hitting this Alistair Cook part of the ground, end of the ground I should say, as Snater is coming round the wicket, and again that's angled down the leg side, and that's the end of the over. So 2 balls this morning and Warwickshire remain on 465 for 9. Busy weekend of sport for us here in Essex because it is the return of the football season, part of the EFL season at least. So we are back to business with BBC Essex Sport tomorrow afternoon from 2 o'clock. Colchester United with their opening game of the season against Tranmere Rovers. So plenty to come up over the course of the weekend, and we'll obviously be reacting to whatever happens between Essex and Warwickshire here in the County Championship as well. So BBC Essex News on the way to update listeners. Richard is doing the same to BBC WM. Matt Critchley is going to bowl from the Sir Alistair Cook end for Essex. Getting back underway in the test as well. We thought we had a late finish last night. They were even later than us there at the Oval. No, not good news for Chris Wokes, who sustained a shoulder injury late on in that one and has been ruled out of the rest of the test. Looked an awkward fall for him trying to save the boundary. So that makes things even more difficult for Essex and that bowling attack. Matt Critchley surveying his field. He's got one slip in place and he's just bringing fine leg up 3/4 of the way. Critchley into Barnard, who digs that one out into the offside dot ball. Critchley with these leg spin is in, and that one's driven straight drive from Barnard, but it'll be an easy pick up for Tom Wesley coming across from long on to pick that one up. Remains 465 for 9, so yet to add to the overnight score so far, Warwickshire, as Critchley is in, and that one's driven by Barnard out to wide of long off. Again, he's not going to worry about taking the single and will remain where he is on 90. In comes Critchley, and that one is defended on the front foot by Barnard for no run. I know Richard was chatting to Ethan Bamber last night after his century for Warwickshire, so we'll find out what he had to say on that innings as night watchman when he joins us. And Critchley's just bringing the field up. Mid-on and mid-off have come up from their positions on the boundary. As Critchley is in, it's a shuffle down the pitch, and that's going to be 6 runs for Barnard. That's a huge, huge heave. He decided to take Matt Critchley on when he brought the field up, and he goes over the top for 6 runs, and he is now not too far away from his century. Back to update the BBC Essex listeners. Yes, Warwickshire back out to bat. Essex need 1 wicket to finish off this Warwickshire first innings, but they will have to bat again after the visitors avoided the follow-on last night. So it all depends on how long it takes Essex to do that, and therefore how long they want to bat for. Will they try and set up a victory target, or will they take that draw considering the rest of the Division 1 table? We've had just 1 6, a huge 6 that should be added to the score for Warwickshire this morning, as Ed Barnard is looking to close in on his century for the Bears. So Warwickshire, having had 2 balls of the over to complete from last night, and Matt Critchley into the second over of this morning. Warwickshire 471 for 9, trailing by 131 runs. And you've missed none of the action here because we needed a new ball after that massive 6 from Ed Barnard. And we'll say good morning to Richard after Critchley is in, and that one is cut away but not timed. It's straight to the fielder in the offside. So end of the Matt Critchley over, and there's that 6 from it, 471 for 9. Good morning to you, Richard.
Yeah, morning, Victoria. He looked towards the skies there after that delivery. Didn't beat the field, because that would have been the 4 that would have brought up his 100, and it'd be good achievement if he gets another. He's already got 2 centuries to go with 4 50s this summer, so he's been the most reliable of all the batters for Warwickshire. He's over 800 championship runs now. By way of contrast, Ollie Hannon-Dolby has 29. It's very much an 11. He will be eager to see Ed Barnard through to this 100. He just finds something on the surface to pick off the ground. He did say to me last night, we exchanged a bit of a WhatsApp series of messages that if Ethan Bamber got his first class 100, why shouldn't he? Snater is in, and Alan Dolby is wrapped a bit of bat and pad there, and it goes out into the offside. So I don't know. I attempted to get this TV to work that's next to us when I sat down and failed, and they've encouraged me to do it again. It's going to get there. It's going to get there.
Just need someone to click something somewhere, I think, and we'll be able to see the score.
Oh, okay. It's making its mind up for a moment. Not sure what its decision will be. I don't know, but there we go. Hannon Dolby standing tall. 2 short mid wickets in place as he defends this ball. There's a slip, a leg slip, and a gully. And now the slip leaves. And Paul Walter, I say he leaves. He's temporarily gone to have a word with Tom Wesley. Then he's going to jog back into position. Maybe he sees a way through the defences. Ollie Hannon Dolby. Essex won't want to be in the field any longer than they have to be, but every minute that ticks out of this game makes any prospect of setting a target later, I think, look increasingly unlikely, as Hannon Dolby drops his bat down on a Yorker length delivery from Snater. I mean, I think it's a long shot that Essex are going to want to set a target here, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a big gamble, isn't it? Because you've got to weigh up what kind of target you would want to try and set, and you don't want it to backfire. And Warwickshire, who have previous in chasing down targets, being able to do it. I think for Essex, the most important thing is not to lose this game, considering the position of those around them in Division 1.
Short ball that just leans out the way, leans backwards, Ollie Hannon Dolby, to avoid that.
But then I'm always quite a cautious person, so maybe I'm...
First Division cricket at this stage of the season, you don't generally see teams taking massive risks. If Essex were a little bit closer to Worcestershire at the foot of the table, then maybe. But the 14 points for a draw would be quite handy this week. Yorkshire may well overhaul them today if they complete a victory at Scarborough. As this is prodded towards short mid-wicket, couple of bounces before it reaches Wesley, and no run. Means only one more ball for Hannon Dolby to see off this over. The surface looks benign again this morning. That's not a huge surprise to anybody. And this ball is in its 50th over, is it? Is this the 130th? I'm squinting at the board. It is, isn't it? So it'd be pretty soft by now. Snater into the pads of Hannon Dolby, just pushes it with the bat out towards Wesley with a couple of flicks of his right boot, gets it back into his hand. End of the over, and another opportunity now to see whether Ed Barnard can get the boundary that will bring up his 100.
I did think that it would be interesting if Sussex could dig in against Yorkshire at Scarborough, but they've lost their first wicket of the day already. So it does make things more difficult for them to hang on for that draw, which would be handy for Essex, although with that Durham defeat as well, and the bonus points that Essex have picked up in this game, that is quite important. Do you want to take this for the Barnard century?
Because I was in the back of the box when
you didn't take the Bamber one, yeah.
Well, I congratulated him yesterday at the start of the interview. He started in typical Ethan Bamber fashion with, "Oh, that's very sweet of you." As Critchley floats one up to Barnard, who on the full toss will play it up to long on, but they won't take a single. The action may be limited to balls 4 and 5, unless he wants to play a little reverse paddle, because that is one area where he could hit a 4 on the inside of Jamie Porter, who's quite wide at third man. And again, he just pushes it past the bowler. And walking across the field is Wesley. So we've had, 16 deliveries this morning. 10 minutes of cricket taken out of the game. Critchley in again. This one quicker on middle and leg. Pushed out to Snater, who's the only fielder saving a single in the field at the moment. He's there really for a lofted extra cover drive. There's a slip in place as well. This is floated up and driven to long off, and again there'll be no run. Paul Walter fields, and now everybody comes in for the final 2 balls of the over. And Critchley switches to round the wicket to try and limit the boundary options for Ed Barnard. It was faced, was it about 113 deliveries? 112. so far for his 96. He's become the most consistent batter in this Warwickshire lineup over the last 2 seasons. This is his 3rd campaign. In the first one, he had a quiet year until the 50-over competition. Tom Wesley has stayed back at long on because that's where he hit the 6 earlier. They're just looking to limit where he can hit a boundary. He goes for a reverse paddle and slams it onto his own pad and then looks skywards again. Another missed opportunity. Of course, he has got a single to long on if he wants it to keep the strike. So that is the other option at this point. I just wonder whether he might take that and play the percentages. Critchley is in, he's sweeping behind square. Has he got enough on it? There's a dive in the outfield, but he gets through to his 100. Ed Barnard's 3rd ton of the season. It's the 5th of the match between these 2 teams, but he came in with the real threat that the Bears might face the follow-on. He's carried them not only beyond that target, but he's taken even more time out of the game. His 100 coming up in the end of 114 deliveries with a 6 and 12 fours.
Yeah, he navigated that battle towards the end of yesterday really well, where Essex were looking to get the wickets needed to make Warwickshire follow on, but he's led things really well for Warwickshire through that period and beyond, and this could be really vital in how this game is going to go today.
Tremendously resourceful cricketer, Ed Barnard. Talking earlier in the week with Paul and Roland about it, that I think on the county circuit he's one of the better players who have never represented his country. He's got that little bit of everything about him, but he's become a very, very fine first division batter.
He's just someone, when I hear the name Ed Barnard, I just think of sort of consistency and reliability. When you sort of look at players from other counties. Shall I take Shane Snatus over? In he comes to Hannon Dolby, who defends this. There's been a wicket in the test match. Josh Tung. Scott Karan Nair. So India 218 for 7. I'm surprised how much we got away with the weather yesterday, considering the Oval. They were off for a little while, weren't they, with the showers that they had. So I think we were quite lucky to get away how we did. As Snater is coming in, and that one is just turned off the hip into the leg side by Hannon Dolby for a single.
And with Canterbury, they got no play at all yesterday, did they? In the end, I think.
I think they maybe were on for a little while in the morning.
Very little.
Yeah.
Very, very little.
Yeah, not long at all.
None at all at Cheltenham yesterday. Interruptions at Worcester. There was a brief interruption at Durham, and yet we lost, what was it, 9 overs, 7 overs? 7 overs,
yeah.
It was extraordinary, really.
476 for 9, trailing by 126. Shane Snatus just having a chat with his captain, Tom Wesley, and Paul Walter is moving out of slip. Going to backward point. In comes Snater to Barnard, bowls, defends that one into the leg side for no run. So not only is there some time being taken out of this, the longer Warwickshire can hold on for this last wicket stand. I do have news in terms of the Essex batting as well. We've seen Nick Brown on as a substitute fielder for Dean Elgar for all of the Warwickshire first innings, and the news from the Essex dressing room is that Dean Elgar won't be batting today, and he isn't allowed to bat until number 7 anyway. As Snater is in, Barnard is wrapped on the pads. Half an appeal from the Essex field, which umpire isn't interested in. No one.
Yeah, he would have been allowed to bat in his normal spot if it had been an impact injury, but you were saying to him, was it a calf that he's got?
I haven't got any information officially on what it is, but it sounds like it may well be
the members were saying
a
that
muscle injury, a calf injury.
I was eavesdropping. Well, you can't help but eavesdrop here because we're so close to him. And they talk often with quite a lot of knowledge.
He has been out there, he's not taking part in the warm-up, but he's been out on the field with them as Snater is in. That's cut away by Barnard, and the field is up, so it should easily make its way to the boundary for 4 more runs to the Warwickshire total. 480 for 9.
which means gap down to 122. All these runs now make it even harder for Essex to set a target. There isn't anything about their body language that suggests that they're going to take a chance on that. There is the suggestion as well that we may get a bit of weather, and there are one or two quite sharp clouds around at the moment. And it will then be very interesting to see what the urgency is to get back on if we get any delays later in the day. It's a difficult thing, isn't it? Because these players are very tired.
In comes Snater, bowls to Barnard, who defends that one. That's the end of the over. 480 for 9. I guess that maybe that plays into it for Essex as well. If you haven't got Elgar at the top of the order, then potentially Charlie Allison moves up into opening with Paul Walter. You would think he's done that earlier in the season when Elgar was on leave for the opening game. So we saw the Walter and Allison combination at the top of the order. But you've maybe got to bear that in mind in terms of down the order if Elgar's not available.
Well, this might be even more of a challenge for Ollie Hannon-Dolby. He's going to be up against the spin of Critchley, and he is more comfortable getting in line to the pace bowlers than he is trying to play the spinners on the whole. Critchley in many ways has the sort of Ed Barnard role in this team. I know that he's a spinner as opposed to a medium pace bowler, but in terms of genuine all-rounder, probably these days he produces a bit more with the bat than he does with the ball, but he's capable of producing with the ball.
Although, interestingly, yesterday, talking to him at the end of the play, says he actually prefers bowling, although he's very capable of both. It's always interesting with all-rounders, isn't it, to see what they actually see their role as and what they actually prefer doing of the two.
We have no fewer than 4 helmeted fielders for the start of this new over, with wicketkeeper, leg slip and 2 short legs for Hannon-Dolby. And Hannon-Dolby is sweeping, and he's sweeping quite nicely through mid-wicket for a single. He goes to 3, 481 for 9. Little cheer from the Warwickshire contingent. And it'd be interesting to know what field Critchley has for Ed Barnard. Whether he sends everybody in the deep again, or whether I mean they are containing, so they're not ruling out that. I noticed he whirled his arms a bit, Tom Wesley, as he's coming down, so he might be sparing Snater any more activity. As Critchley bowls to Barnard, who gets a thick inside edge down to fine leg, and he chooses not to take the run. So Warwickshire's goal is still to continue taking time out of the game. And that's almost 20 minutes this morning, so 10 minutes turnaround. On top of that, as he's sweeping here, Barnard, it's uppish, but it will drop in front of the fielder, and they don't take a run. And I think Matt Critchley felt that carried reasonably well out towards Sam Cook. It was in the air a while. Dolby's saying, I think he might be saying to Ed Barnard, we can take the odd single now. I know what they want out of this. I think largely just to be out there as long as possible. But Barnard now off the back foot slaps this out towards the cover boundary fielder and doesn't take the single again. 2 balls left in the over, so in they all creep.
Good start for England, second wicket of the morning. Gus Atkinson this time. India 220 for 8.
Yeah, well, the bowler short. The key is to wrap that up quickly now, and then bat and get themselves well ahead. So Critchley is going to come round the wicket again for the final couple of balls of the over to try and restrict the scoring options, and he tries to launch a massive slog reverse sweep, does Ed Barnard. There's an appeal, but
it's a polite appeal.
But it had to be fairly polite because the ball's pitched outside leg stump. So I know he's switched round, but if the ball pitches outside leg stump, he can't be out LBW. So he was getting no support for the appeal. And he's in again. This is flatter and swept round the corner for 4. That wasn't a great ball. I'm not sure that plan's quite right from Critchley. But 4 more for Barnard. He goes to 108. So he's deposed Ethan Bamber as the highest scorer in the Bears innings. So that anomaly has been taken off. Although if your initials are EB, you've batted quite well. 485 for 9. So they've added 20 runs this morning. The difference between the two sides is only 117. And the fact that Tom Wesley is coming on to bowl now, and he might take the wicket this over, but it's a sign now that he doesn't want to put any more work into these bowlers. That doesn't mean they've necessarily given up on the game, but if they are going to end up bowling again later today, you would want them to rest up as much as possible now. I finally made the telly work.
Oh.
Although it's frozen.
Well, someone was on their way to fix it, or unless they're fixing it remotely, but
there we
hopefully
go.
No one's going to have a wasted journey. There we go, we're all fixed.
Yeah.
There's no test of my eyesight to try and see the screen further away.
And we'll pretend the cricket's on it. We're actually watching reruns of Neighbours.
On mute.
To be fair, many of those scripts sound better on mute.
Make it up your own.
Yeah.
So Tom Wesley with his first over of day 4. In he comes to Hannon Dolby, who turns that one to short leg with his... It's a very pronounced defensive stance, isn't it, Hannon Dolby?
Very well spread. That's what we noted last night.
In comes Wesley, and that one's again defended into the leg side by Hannon Dolby.
We were concerned that he was going to do himself a mischief. Essex, they're still trying to protect runs, and they're certainly trying to get Hannon Dolby out with 4 close catches.
Around the wicket comes Wesley, and that one just wraps him on the pad and drops in front of him.
Yeah, he was trying to play a back foot drive there, which was a triumph of optimism over expectation.
No addition to the score so far this over, as Wesley is in. There's a big appeal and that's out. Hit on the pads. Wesley gets his first wicket, and that's the end of the Warwickshire innings. 485 for 9. Hannon Dolby's out for 3. Barnard remains not out on 108. And Warwickshire trail by 117 runs. And we'll have a changeover as Essex will bat again.
Yeah, 485. They've done well in the end. The key was avoiding the follow-on yesterday because it's taken quite a bit of pressure out of the game. And now all that remains to be seen is what Essex's intent is. And I mean, it may well be it's going to be beyond half an hour into play. How many overs have we had this morning? And this was the 7th. So it's going to be probably 86, 87 overs left in the game. It's where you create the opportunity from there. You're going to see 21, 22 overs before lunch, 4 and over. That would get the lead up around 200. It's quite a difficult equation.
Yeah, it's a risky equation, and I'm not sure Essex will be looking to risk that, considering it kind of felt like a must not lose game. So I don't know whether you'd want to gamble with it, considering that it's been, 24 minutes to take this final wicket, and they've added 20 to the total as well this morning. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Essex go about it. Remember, no Dean Elgar at the top of the order either, because he's been off the pitch being assessed with an injury. So, again, it depends what kind of risks Essex are willing to take in this county championship match. So we'll have a few minutes break while the sides swap over, and we'll be back to take you through the Essex second innings. Welcome back for the start of the Essex second innings, with a lead of 117. And I mentioned that Dean Elgar will not be batting at the top of the order for Essex. He won't be batting because he's been off the field, being assessed by the medical team for all of the Warwickshire first innings. I thought that maybe Charlie Allison would be promoted up the order as we saw earlier this season, but joining Paul Walter to open this Essex second innings is Noah Thane.
Interesting. Is that a sign of intent? Is he a positive player?
Maybe, yeah, he's positive. He can certainly hit a ball. He's had a good introduction in the T20 Blast this season, having made his debut. So I guess it's a good opportunity maybe to test a few things out and protect Charlie Allison, who since having been moved back to a more natural position in the middle order has had a really successful time, scoring 3 centuries. So he definitely prefers that position, and you probably don't want to unsettle it again if he's found his rhythm, and I'm sure Noah Thane will embrace the opportunity.
Oliver Hannon-Dolby it is to get us underway. A little bit of cloud cover at the moment, and a new Kookaburra, just 2 slips in place, 5 in a ring, saving a single. As this ball gets up a bit towards the gloves of Walter, who then asked permission to pick the ball up. He's given it, and he just lifts it into the hands of Ed Barnard, one of 5 centurions in this match so far. Westley 148, Allison 133, Pepper 107 not out, Bamber 107, Barnard 108 not out. It's the magical Kookaburra effect, potentially. I can tell it's still warm and heavy out there because Alex Davis hasn't got his jumper on for the start of this innings. After what was effectively a day off for him yesterday. As Hannon-Dolby is in, he's driven by Walter, and that is wide of Roccaccioli at point for 4. So first ball pitched up, he gets his hands through it nicely, Walter, who made 86 in the first innings, and he gets Essex on the board. 4 without loss, they lead by 121.
Don't need the sunglasses on, I don't think.
You're giving that quite a bit of thought there.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah. The arms are getting quite loose on those sunglasses as well, I note.
Oh no, don't, because they're my favourite, but
okay.
I don't know that I'll find a pair like them. Get a screwdriver out, maybe.
Yeah, one of those little tiny ones.
Christmas cracker ones.
Yeah. Although if you got them from an optician's, you can take them there. If you got them just off the shelf, not so much.
I got them from Canada, so I probably can't take them back there, can I?
That's a bit more challenging. Hannon-Dolby bowls again, back of a length, clipped towards the deep mid-wicket fielder Gianni for a single, 5 without loss. Be quite the excuse to go back to Canada, though, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Need a couple of days off. Where you go? I'm just going to nip to Vancouver. I just plucked a random Canadian city. Nipping out to Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Pick up some sunglasses.
Yeah. It was Vancouver.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh. Crikey. Don't know how I guessed. Right, I went for the one that everybody tells me is the prettiest city in Canada. So I thought they call it the Barcelona of Canada.
Yeah, it's very. You've got the city bit and the sea wall as well.
It's on back of a length outside off stump, left alone by Thane in this emergency openers role. And it might be as much as anything because he didn't have a bat in the first innings that Essex giving him a chance to get some time out of the crease. He will probably have quite an important part to play in the 50 over competition. Be interesting to see how these two teams treat that tournament. The Bears start at Scarborough next Wednesday. As Hannon-Dolby sprints in once more to bowl to Thane, and that one he gets firmly in behind, defends it out into the offside, and fielded by Barnard. It'll take probably 35-40 minutes to judge the intent here. Unless they take 20 off the next over, in which case we'll have a fair indication, but I can't see that happening. Our friends on the balcony at the far end, the 2 of them were out first thing this morning, but they are both in now. So we have no balcony dwellers watching play that I can see. As this one is full outside off stump. Nice line from Hannon Dolby. Played watchfully out into the offside. Picked up by Malik. And 5 off that opening over. 122 the Essex lead, 10 wickets standing. And we have 87 overs of cricket left. So 88 at the start of the innings.
Ethan Bamber, who scored 107 with the bat, having come in as night watchman on day 2. And a very busy day at the crease yesterday. He's managed to have, well, at least a little bit of rest ahead of having to bowl again.
I asked him what his ambitions for the day were when he first went out yesterday morning, one not out as night watchman. And he said surviving the first ball and then maybe the second. So it went a bit better than that. He's never made 100 before in any form of cricket, not in schools cricket, not in club cricket. And certainly never faced as many balls as he did in that innings.
He's on his way in from the Graham Gooch end to Paul Walter, wraps him on the pads quite high up, and he's going to come all the way down to collect the ball from Paul Walter's feet.
Admits he got nervous. He had the nervous 40s.
Ooh.
His previous high score was 46. He said he was very conscious of that, very tense getting past 46. Didn't have time for the nervous 90s because he hit 4 boundaries in 9 deliveries to get from 84 to 100.
So he was maybe in a bit of a nervous 70 state at one point.
He got a bit stuck, didn't he? Got bogged down.
Five without loss for Essex, all of those coming for Paul Walter, who clips that one into the leg side, and they'll trot through for a single, and we'll have a change around in the field for the right-left combination at the top of the order for Essex. Noah Thane doing the job in place of Dean Elgar. It has been pointed out to me that Noah Thane didn't bat in the first innings, so maybe just a chance to get him out there and have a bit of a go with the bat. I expect he will be heavily involved for Essex when the One Day Cup starts next week.
Some nice fluffy clouds above us at the moment. They've got tinges of grey, but they're not threatening at all. Some good shapes. There's a little duck above us, a long-necked duck.
3 slips in as Bamber is in over the wicket, and that's past the outside edge.
I think I'm going to upgrade it to a goose.
If I look up there, I'm going to have to put my sunglasses on.
It's, yeah, I think from Warwickshire's point of view, they just want to keep the run rate low. They'd like to take a couple of wickets to help in that. They've got 3 slips in place for Thane.
As Bamber is in, that was defended by Thane. And it will trickle its way up to mid-off for no run.
Not surprisingly, the smallest crowd of the week. I thought, yesterday, initially you couldn't see many people here, but they were hiding away to shelter from that early rain.
Well, I did notice when I just quickly left the commentary box during the break between innings, there are quite a few people in the Tom Pearce lower as Bamber is in, and Thane leaves that one outside the off stump. So potentially some of those supporters that have decided to come for day 4 are just a bit nervous about the weather and have decided to claim their seat in shelter early.
Briefly, cricket being watched by some of the scaffolders or builders over on the left-hand side. 3 of them, and again to shock the members on the opposite side of the pavilion, bare torsos.
They're not getting in at lunch. In comes Bamber. That one's driven by Thane, but not timed, and it's to mid-off for no run, and that is the end of the over. A single from it, Essex 6 without loss.
3 of them now, and it has to be said they are no strangers to the bare torso because they are very, very tanned. The 3 gentlemen over there.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
They're used to outside work, aren't
They
they?
are. They're definitely make the most of the weather when they're working. Puts our work into context. We get to sit here and talk They're doing the heavy lifting. Are they dismantling that today? I thought they might be dismantling it. Their work may be done. There's just a sense that they're taking bits of that away with them. And Dolby will continue. The lead is 123 for Essex. We have 86 overs of cricket. And Hannon Dolby is in and hides the ball away outside off stump, and Paul Walter watches it go through to Kai Smith. And there's no run. A pleasant enough evening. I did in the end choose to go for a couple of pints. Sat there playing some games on my phone, listening to 4 co-workers having quite a vigorous conversation. So, actually, there were 5 of them initially. There was 1 chap left, and then there was left with 1 bloke and 3 women. And he was a little bit alpha male.
Oh.
And Dolby in just back of a length through to the wicket keeper. There was certainly an element of mansplaining going on, and I was getting annoyed for them at the way he was. And then he went off to pay a visit, and they expressed their opinion fairly quickly about him while he was away. So that was entertaining.
Sometimes when you're on your own, you can just people watch and dial into things, can't you?
It's hard not to eavesdrop, isn't it?
Mm.
You know, it wasn't a busy pub. There were a lot of people were outside, and I was thinking inside. And then Dolby on Midland leg, just tucked into the leg side by Walter. He is 7 not out, and Essex are 7 without loss. So he eventually left saying he had something urgent that he needed to do work-wise. And then they really relaxed. And that was the tale of my 2 pints. One from a nice brewery in Leigh-on-Sea.
Oh.
Yeah. The other one I thought was local. It turned out to be the English-Welsh border. It turned out to be from Mould.
Oh, not Malden.
No. And Dolby all back of a length, and it almost takes the shoulder of Thane's bat there, certainly high on the bat. And that edge bounces before it reaches Mosley. Fielding in the gully. Nice bit of lift that for Hannon Dolby. We've seen a little bit of that with each new Kookaburra. There's been a little bit more bounce for the first 7 or 8 overs. Nothing dramatic, but just a little bit more as it comes off the surface. And Dolby wicketless in the match. Would like to break through here. That's nicely in line, Thane, and he defends. Makes him look short because he's batting with Paul Walter. I know he's not the tallest, but he's not as short as he looks at the moment.
No. It's not quite the height difference we see between Walter and Elgar, and that we see at the moment in the field as well, between Davis and Hannon Dolby.
I'm imagining Thane's 5'10". I'm going to have to look him up now. He might be. That's what my guess would be in that region. Oh. It's not easy to find that after all. As he faces the next ball, and he gets an inside edge, and it goes down to long leg for a single. He didn't know anything about that. Jarney does the fielding, but Thane is off the mark. Final ball of that over. 8 without loss after 3 overs, Essex. It is a watchful start, and that may tell its own story.
Yeah, like you say, Noah Thane didn't know where that one had ended up, but he takes the single at the end of the over, so he'll keep the strike for the start of Ethan Bamber's next over.
It used to be quite easy to find the height of cricketers, but seemingly not anymore.
You have to start lining them up on media day,
Yeah,
as alongside their headshots, get them up against the wall and chalk off the heights.
Do it in order.
So 8 without loss. Noah Thane waits. In comes Ethan Bamber from the Graham Gooch end, and that was driven, but again, not where it was intended by Thane, who can take a single and get himself out of the firing line. 9 without loss.
There was an evening of gentle culinary revelation. In the pub, underneath the arches at Chelmsford, in the bar, they have a fancy set of crisps, and they've put lots of empty bags of crisps on this panel so you can see what the flavours are. Bacon and tomato.
Ooh.
Very good. It was very good. That was the first revelation of the evening. Quite enjoyed those.
Would have been disappointing though if you'd got them and you didn't.
You've got to take a risk in life, haven't you?
Bamber's coming around the wicket to Paul Walter, who's turned that one down to fine leg. There is someone, Hannon Dolby, down under, out of our view, who collects that one, so it is a single, and it just means that the field will change again for Noah Thane to be back on strike, the right-hander.
Risks come at many levels. I'm never going to ski. I'm never going to bungee jump. Don't think they'll let me. To be fair, I'm never going to start smoking or anything like that. I'm not going to take these risks in life. However, trying what could be a revelatory new flavour of crisp, that is the risk I'll take.
Bamber is into Thane, and he's edged it, and he's gone. Well, Ethan Bamber picks up the first wicket, and it's that of Noah Thane for Essex. A feather of an edge behind to Smith. Thane followed it, looked at it. Umpire's finger went up, and Essex lose their first wicket. They're 10 for 1, leading by 127 runs.
Nice breakthrough for Bamber. It's that little bit of extra bounce again that Thane has been vulnerable to. That is high up on his bat, almost up at glove height there, and he gets a little nick through to Kai Smith. And he looks thoroughly fed up on a wicket that very few batters have missed out on. He goes for 1. The other thing that may be a little bit significant at the moment, because let me tell you, these two umpires, and I don't know how much time in their lives Ian Blackwell and Tom Lungley have spent in Chelmsford, but they're looking at the weather that's coming, and whenever they've looked closely at the clouds in this match, some bad weather has come in, and they've just been pointing at one or two clouds saying it might be, might have a bit of a break in half an hour here, might have a bit of an issue. We will see, but very noticeable that they were pointing at something.
Well, earlier on, the chance of some showers around lunchtime-ish were 70%. That's dropped to 50% now, according to the chart. You may well have different to me.
Oh, look, after yesterday, I don't trust any weather forecast anymore. That was extraordinary. Really was. England 10 without loss, which tells you things have happened very quickly at the Oval this morning, doesn't it? England 10 without loss in reply to India's 224. Gus Atkinson's return to international cricket was magnificent. 5 for 33 in nearly 22 overs. He is a very good international cricketer. Him and Archer leading the attack and a fit Ben Stokes would show some promise for the Ashes, I think. You could look who the supporting cast is, whether it's Cast, Tongue, Wood, Wokes, but if you've got Atkinson, Archer and Stokes in your bowling attack, you're going to give yourself a chance.
Yeah, that's what England need. They just need to have them all fit at the same time, don't they? As Bamber is into the Essex captain Tom Wesley, pushes that one into the leg side to get off the mark, and it's going to have enough on it that it's going to go for 4 runs. So the Essex skipper gets a boundary to start off with, having made 148 in the first innings. He has 4, Essex 14 for 1.
That was very much the shot of a man who made a century in the first innings, wasn't it? In that he's straight on it. He's just leant on the ball and with lovely timing sends it to that straight mid-wicket boundary. It's a really good-looking shot, that, from Wesley. And
he's probably done, well, the most bowling he's done in a few seasons for Essex in this match, as that one is left alone by Wesley, moves the bat out of the way. It's through to Smith for no run. It's, since they've had the off-spinners Simon Harmer and the leg spin of Matt Critchley, it's been very rare that Tom Wesley has needed to come into the bowling attack for Essex, but with no Harmer in this game, he was certainly busy with the ball, taking that last wicket. But what did he bowl in the end? 12 overs and 4 balls. So alongside being out there with the bat for 148 runs, as this one is defended into the leg side by Wesley. End of the over. Essex 14 for 1, leading by 131.
So Bamber with his first wicket of the second innings, 2 in the match for him to go with his century. Interesting to see how long Alex Davis keeps his opening bowlers on, but for now he'll be happy. Run rate's 3.5, wicket down. Got just over an hour until lunch. He says, logging in his mind the fact he's got to nip back to do a report in about 7 or 8 minutes' time. And the other match that is of consideration to Essex, Yorkshire will leapfrog them if they beat Sussex today. Sussex 130 for 6, trailed by 193. Hughes out for 57 and Ibrahim for 51. They were the two batters who were going well. John Simpson, who can be very obstinate, has got a duck. 3 wickets for Milnes and 2 for White. So rare for Simpson to miss out twice in a match for Sussex. Hannah Dolby will come in round the wicket now to Walter. Back of a length, guided through square for a single. 15 for 1. Walter has 9. While we're at it, at New Road, Hampshire 171 for 3 in their second innings lead, Worcestershire by 215. So there could well be a declaration there at some point. Gubbins has 74. Somerset 7 without loss. 99 runs behind Notts, who were eventually bowled out for 544. So they've got a lead. It just has to be sensible batting, you would fancy, for Somerset. Jake Ball took 3 wickets on his return to Trent Bridge. Division 2, matches where there could be a result. The ones at Old Trafford and Northampton have both been delayed by the weather. So too is the match at Cheltenham. The only place they're playing is Canterbury. Alan Dolby, back of a length, draws a comfortable defensive shot just on the back foot. Full face of the bat by Wesley. It rolls up to mid-on, where Bamber fields. So, not sure there's going to be a lot of positive results today. In Division 1, probably just the Yorkshire one. And today sees the end of the Kookaburra phase. People will party in the streets around many county grounds.
Led by Paul Newton.
Alan Dolby, back of a length, good leave by Wesley. Above the height of the stumps. I never did finish that placard. I ran out of paint. I started carrying on with a bit of toothpaste, but that's not very economical. So I've left that in the travel tavern. Stayed there 4 nights. Nobody came into the room once. I had a very full bin.
There's different protocols now for different places, isn't there? You have to say whether or not you want the room serviced.
Alan Dolby, back of a length, left alone by Wesley once more. It's another knock-on effect, I think, of that pandemic thing. That hotels started doing that, understandably, but now it's like they can't really be bothered. The staff in the restaurant for breakfast each morning were tremendously merry. All of them.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it, when you have to go?
The chef on the first 2 mornings, she was really hilarious at times. She was so bright and breezy, but had a bit of a joke about her, and yeah, she was properly funny. He was standing there. She's hold on, fresh eggs coming, wait for him. She knew how to please a crowd. Back of a length again, and Wesley in behind it defends it back to Alan Dolby and his follow through.
Has Alan Dolby got black socks on, or is that just his boots as he runs in?
It's the colour of his legs, having grown up in a mining area. No, I think he does wear the darker sock, Alan Dolby. Quite a few players do that now.
Yeah. There was a big debate in one of the test matches about it, wasn't there, whether it was acceptable or not.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from here, isn't it? There's a flash of darkness as he bowls a fuller delivery and a defensive drive, if you like, from Wesley. There's not really any intent about it. Just the single off the over. 15 for 1 after 5 for Essex. They lead by 132. You might remember there was that phase where one of the boot manufacturers brought out boots where round the back of the shoe, so above the heel, were colours.
Yes, yeah.
And you could have them a variety of colours, but amongst them were red and orange, and batters started complaining. Now, I'm not saying that the ball is going to be delivered from down there, but they felt that it was a bit of a distraction, and they became illegal.
I'm not sure whether he'll have them on today, but Ethan Bamber had some quite loud socks on last night when he was conducting the interview with you. As Bamber is in, and Walter just watches that one past the outside edge of the bat through to the slips.
Well, I think he's got a nick on that, because it's dropped just short of Bo Webster, who picked it up on the half volley. I think he's played that with soft hands.
Didn't he?
He's played it with soft hands, but he's nicked that through to Bo Webster.
And it just hasn't carried all the way to the slips.
It was good hands to pick it up. He was protecting his head from at the time. You know, Ethan Bamber has got through a lot of time in the field, plus an unusually long innings. He's coming in with real effort here.
As he comes around the wicket, and that one, again, it's just teasing Paul Walter to try and play at it. It's through to Smith. Didn't get anything on it this time.
The enigma, if you're Tom Wesley, looking at this situation, and Chris Silverwood as coach, is that the ball's doing a bit here for Hannon Dolby and Bamber. And in your mind you think, well, maybe he is going to do a bit more today. Maybe there is an opportunity to get something out of this game. But equally, they can't score quickly at the moment.
No, 15 for 1 as Bamber is in, and that one is clipped round the corner by Paul Walter for a very fine 4. Down to fine leg, and after a couple of nervy deliveries he's faced, he just tucks that one away. Essex move on to 19 for 1.
He got his line wrong that time, Bamber. It was a fine tickle by Walter. Just didn't want to get something on it, don't want to miss out. And he dispatched it pretty well in the end. Oh, I need to go and do a report, don't I?
Now Richard will be back after he's updated the listeners, and we'll continue with the 4th ball of Ethan Bamber's over. And he comes to Walter, who defends that one. Walter's moved on to 13, by the way, from 13 deliveries faced. The discussion going on in the field between Wocchioli and his captain Davis, as Bamber goes back to his mark. And he comes to the left-handed Walter, who leaves that one, and then it's fumbled in the slips, but Essex decide to stay where they are. Webster collects it. I just feel like Ethan Bamber is getting a bit of joy out of this pitch at the moment. He's picked up the wicket of Noah Thane for 1, caught behind, and he's lured Paul Walter into a couple of shots. In comes Bamber to Walter, defends that one back up the pitch. Past the bowler, end of the over, the boundary from it for Paul Walter, the 4 down to fine leg. Essex 19 for 1. With 6 overs of their second innings gone, they lead by 136. We still have a little bit of blue sky around, but those clouds have increased. There is one particularly grey one behind the floodlights at the Graham Gooch end of the ground, but nothing as threatening as there was yesterday, although in the end it didn't materialise into anything too heavy, and we only lost 7 overs of the day, so it just depends how the weather moves today according to the forecast, which I'm going to be very wary of. Still chance of a shower in the early afternoon as Hannon Dolby continues from the Sir Alistair Cook end. That one's clipped into the leg side, a classic Tom Wesley shot as he comes back to run 2. He just has to swerve out of the way of the Bears bowler. 21 for 1, Wesley on to 6. So it looks like Yorkshire are heading for victory. So it'll be back-to-back defeats for Sussex after the victory for Essex at Hove last week. Yesterday, Durham beaten by the leaders Surrey, which interesting news for Essex there, as Hannon Dolby is in. That one's defended by Wesley back down the pitch for no run. And it is where the bonus points could prove important. Essex picking up 3 with the bat and 3 with the ball, which does take them above Durham if they can at least draw this game, which is what is looking likely between Essex and Warwickshire at the moment. We have just under an hour to go now till lunch, and Dolby is on his way into Wesley, who clips that one past the square leg umpire, trots through for a single, 22 for 1. Wesley on to 7. The lead 138 as the sun peers through the clouds once more. And the Warwickshire field changes for the left-handed Paul Walter back on strike.
Dolby looking slightly downcast because he hasn't got a wicket yet in this game. He doesn't want to emerge from the 4 days without a reward.
He is in, and that one's left alone by Walter. Oh no, my screen's gone off.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it back on. I think it may have taken a slight nudge when I left. It's temperamental, isn't it?
It is. It's very sensitive. There we go.
Yeah, excellent.
It's a classic turn it off, turn it on again, and hope for the best, which is usually the way to solve most technical situations.
It's the training we're all given by BBC engineers.
Hannon Dolby's coming around the wicket to Walter, who defends that one. Just drops into the pitch, no run.
Again, it's going to get very benign again as this ball gets a little bit older. Just gets soft quickly. And we're into what, the seventh over. They won't be in a hurry getting through their overs this morning, the Bears. That little bit of pointing at clouds the umpires did, I can see the cloud they may have pointed at coming towards us now.
Hannon Dolby bowls. That one's defended by Walter. End of the 7th over, 22 for 1, a lead of 139.
It's like you were assessing the weather while I was up at the back talking to the fine people of BBC Radio WM and BBC CWR. I don't know whether you were pointing to it, but
yeah, I'm no Carol Kirkwood, but I said there was a bit of a grey cloud moving across.
Yeah, you're much more of a Louise Lear. That there looks to me like a cloud that could well rain on us. That's going to dump on somewhere soon, and it's roughly the right angle for. Yeah, that is the direction the weather's coming in from today. So I think, knowing our luck this week, it'll pass us. It's been happening consistently. It's going to be Bamber to continue. Ed Barnard's doing a gentle whirl of his arms. He may be soon, who knows. Bo Webster's not showing any inclination to get warmed up at the moment. It might be that it's spinners next when they decide to make the first change. Bamber in to bowl to Wesley, back of a length outside off stump, and Wesley leaves it alone. There is nothing about the body language at the moment of this Essex innings that suggests target setting. I think we're getting close to that point where we can judge it a bit. I don't think we're going to have a day of drama, but I could be proved wrong.
It has been quite a gentle start.
We may have to find some exciting landmarks to look forward to. As he's played and missed that one. Wesley coming forward. This has been a really good spell by Bamber. We saw Sam Cook with the new ball on Wednesday evening, and then yesterday morning all a really good spell without any real reward. He only took the 1 wicket out of Bo Webster in the afternoon session. And Snather with an excellent spell during that time that he took a couple of wickets in quick succession, 2 in 2 balls, but that's a much more resolute defensive shot from Wesley. Pushing forward, it bounces up to Bamber in his follow through, and he immediately gives the ball to Alex Davis to put the shine on it.
Even the umpire's having a stretch.
Yeah. Umpire Blackwell at this end What do you reckon he's stretching there?
Well,
His thighs?
that's a glute stretch, I would say.
Forward comes Wesley up towards mid-off, and there's no run. He's a much smaller man than he used to be, Ian Blackwell, and I think he's maybe rediscovered his glutes as a result. And I speak as a considerably bigger man than he, so you know, I feel I'm on moral okay ground there. I haven't seen a rib since 1979. Here's Bamber, driven by Wesley. Oh, and it takes a flying bounce over the fielder for 4. Craig Miles is on as 12th man, and that was rolling up towards him. And I don't know whether it was the wicket end, whether it's a sprinkler head or something, but it's taken a flying bounce.
That was an almighty bobble, wasn't it?
I mean, there would have been no run, but it's gone about 10 feet in the air. There's a difference between a bobble and it's like a motorbike going off a ramp. And Craig Miles just looked at that with absolute mystery. So who's he come on for? Was he come on for Rocket Sholey? Is Rocket Sholey missing? I think he is,
That was where he was fielding Roccaccioli, so it could make sense.
Yeah, it looks like it is. That was extraordinary. Well, Wesley will be delighted to get runs free of charge. He's up to 11, and now with the outer half of the bat, he's going to get more because he's gone to the left of Barnard at backward point. There should be a couple. Rob Yates gives chase. So 2 more, 28 for 1 at the end of the 8th over. That's a lead of 145. With 50 more minutes to go, probably 11 or 12 overs before the interval. The umpires, you see, there's Tom Lungley is pointing at those clouds again, I think. Oh no, I think he is. No, he isn't on this occasion. He's pointing on the fact that there's been another change because Roccaccioli has come back on and somebody else has gone off because Craig Miles remains out there. I think Alex Davis has nipped off briefly. This time.
Hannon Dolby to start a new over from the Sir Alistair Cook end. In he comes to Walter, who turns that one into the leg side. They'll come through for a single. And apparently the ball's pinged up off an AstroTurf patch, which is used by the other broadcasters when they come for stump microphone cables. So we can blame them for it.
Oh, I mean, it could have wiped him out if he'd been a bit closer. If he'd been 5 yards closer, it would have been on its upward trajectory, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it did balloon up, didn't it?
England's batters, by the way, are doing what England's batters do. 6 overs into their reply. They're 40 without loss. Crawley 16, Duckett 23.
29 for 1 here, Essex, as Hannon Dolby is in, and that's defended by Wesley. Back to the bowler for no run.
The nightmare of the test match at the Oval last year, they'd like to get that out of the system. A 7th Sussex wicket down in that Yorkshire-Sussex game as well. Sutherland has removed Lamb for 7. They're 143 for 7. Still 180 runs short of making Yorkshire bat again at Scarborough.
They're heading for victory in that one. Hannon Dolby bowls to Wesley outside the edge of his bat, through to Smith, and he'll go and do a little bit of gardening where that one pitched.
Credit to the Bears bowlers here. They've come out to make life hard for Essex, and if there is any decision to be made, what they've not let them do is get off to a flyer to keep it in mind. At the run rate, at the rate they're scoring at the moment, it's going to be very hard to find a way of setting any meaningful target, especially with a tired bowling attack.
In comes Hannon Dolby for Warwickshire. That's just dabbed into the offside by Wesley. Comes through for a quick single. Again has to swerve Hannon Dolby on his walk back to his mark as Wesley moves on to 14. Same amount as Walter, who's back on strike. Essex 30 for 1.
Funny bit of dark cloud above, and yet the sun has come through a gap, and it's it's warm, and you can see a very short shadow next to Ollie Hannon-Dolby, a little mini me running alongside him.
And he comes around the wicket to Walter, who defends that one. And we may well get a short shower, but I'm not sure I need to be as worried when we're on the eve of the football season. Well, at least for League Two tomorrow, Colchester United starting. 2 years ago, first match of the season, opening day at the beginning of August, we had a torrential... Well, we had some wet weather around on the Saturday morning, and then a torrential shower for about non-stop for just before the game, and at 2:30 the game got postponed due to a waterlogged pitch right at the beginning of August. And so, although I'm nervous about the weather, I don't think, fingers crossed, touch wood, everything you need to, we'll be in that situation tomorrow. As Hannon-Dolby is in, that one's driven by Walter up to mid-off for no run at the end of the over, the 9th over. Essex are 30 for 1, a lead of 147.
Alex Davis returns to the field. Craig Miles will lope off. Miles in his final season, is he? Oh, so somebody else asked him. No, he's just checking. Anybody else want an over off? No? Okay. Yeah, final season for Craig Miles with Warwickshire before he returns to Gloucestershire. Kind of his home county, although technically he was born in Wiltshire. Rothesay is warming up, so I think he may well be succeeding Ollie Hannon-Dolby at the Sir Alistair Cook end next time out. But here's Bamber, who's bowled very nicely indeed in this spell. Into Wesley, who's driving up towards mid-off. Fumbled at the first attempt by Alex Davis, but he captures it at the second. There's an even darker, more meaningful cloud that's just passing away to our right at the moment and disappearing off into the distance, but that is quite low over there. So we've done well to miss that bit.
I wonder if anyone in Essex is getting rain at the moment.
Bamber approaches. Wesley on the back foot, defends it back down in front of him. And there's no run. I think there are some parts of the county did get quite damp yesterday. Was there some science a few years ago about how these big oval spaces tend to cause a geographical effect where the clouds can go round them? I don't know whether that's what happened here yesterday or whether it's mumbo jumbo. Back of a length left alone by Wesley. But, you know, given that nobody can entirely explain scientifically why a cricket ball swings sometimes and other times doesn't, I'd say we're still learning about these things.
Yeah, it's not... it can always sometimes be very localised in Essex with the amount of coastline we have as well. It can vary across Essex.
Bamber, Fuller, forward comes Wesley, pushes it out back to the bowler. How far are we from the coast, sitting here almost in the centre of Chelmsford?
Well, we're sort of midway between the coastline of the north of the county, so up towards sort of Clacton, Mersey, Walton, Frinton, all that part, probably 25 to 30 miles that way, and then Southend in the other direction.
Bamber back of a length, forcing shot from Wesley. There's no boundary rider, it's a long chase. Is the ball going to win it? Ed Barnard keeps going, but it's going to go over the rope in front of the far end of the pavilion, and that's a nice strike from Wesley, who overhauls Walter. He's up to 18 now, 34 for 1 Essex, and a lead of 151. Corey Rothesay is doing some rather extraordinary looking exercises just to loosen his side at the moment. He picks himself back up. Don't know what book he learnt that one from, but I'm not sure it was to do with sporting fitness. But looks pretty certain he's about to come into the attack as Bamber bowls once more to Wesley, and that's a good leave. It does angle back a bit off the seam, but that was never threatening the stumps through to the wicketkeeper. 10 overs gone in this innings then, 34 for 1 And here come the various helmets which announce the presence imminently of a spin bowler.
And not only that, but Roccaccioli, as he comes over to give his hat to the umpire, gets his headband out of his pocket as well.
Yeah, it's old school. It's not an Alice band, as so beloved of footballers. Alice band, the second worst hairdo in football behind the man bun. But no, it is much more your tennis player's headband that Corey favours.
Corey Rothesay.
You're not going to bash footballers with Alice bands, male footballers specifically.
Well, I mean, it's certainly a look to pull off, but as someone with long hair, I do appreciate keeping your hair out of your face.
Oh no, it needs to be. I haven't had hair since I was about 27, so it's not an issue I've largely had.
I can't think of any footballers I regularly cover that favour the Alice band look.
It's gone out of fashion a little bit.
Yeah, Jack Grealish brought it back for a little while, didn't he?
And there is still the residue of the man bun for which Gareth Bale will always be the man to blame. I genuinely once, when presenting a breakfast show, did an interview with Gareth Bale's barber, who would sometimes fly to Madrid to do his hair. And it turned out that he had advised Gareth Bale not to have a man bun and was ignored, and it led to a very gentle rift between two friends. But he didn't approve of the man bun.
So Corey Roccaccioli comes into the attack for Warwickshire. He comes in, and that one is just placed into the offside by Paul Walter, who will come through for a single to start the over, 35 for 1.
There is turn there, but it's very, very slow turn, isn't it? He was able to wait for that, Paul Walter. Just dab it away.
Yeah, time to think about playing that one. Tom Wesley's in no hurry to take to the crease. Rearranges his gloves, has a look around, sorts his pads, has another look, and now he's ready. Choli is in. Wesley on the back foot, hits that one into the ground. Bounces up to short leg for no run.
Zen Malik is one of the junior pros, gets the joys of short leg. Vanchjani can be delighted that it's not him, as an even younger pro.
It's a rite of passage, isn't it? In comes Roccaccioli, and Wesley was looking to sweep that one, and it's caused some excitement behind the stump. Smith was fumbling for it. Did that come off Wesley's pad in the end?
Well, the appeal was for LBW, but the frantic dive of Kai Smith was suggesting that there may or may not have been a bit of glove on it. He's tipped it over his own shoulder and then hasn't been able to catch it.
In comes Roccaccioli on the back foot. Wesley clips that one into the leg side. Through for a single. 36 for 1. Wesley on to 19. The lead is 153.
This over might encourage them to use a bit of Rob Yates before too long as well. I don't think it'd be too long before we see him, although Bo Webster is starting to jog up and down in between deliveries.
Roccaccioli is in, and that one's defended by Walter. Back to the bowler. Yeah, Bo Webster going through various leg stretches at mid-on.
He's definitely limbering up.
Roccaccioli is in, and that one is played back to the bowler by Walter from the final ball of the over, 36 for 1.
And it may be that he's going to enter the attack now as well. So 5 overs each for the 2 opening bowlers. And now Roccaccioli and Webster, the 2 Australians, entering the attack. 2 for 55 in 22 overs in the first innings. Bo Webster was very annoyed with himself when he got out for 32.
Also a change of
And the Bears reply.
Bo Webster.
England 59 without loss after 8 against India, in reply to 224. 29 apiece for Crawley and Duckett. And 2 6s and 10 4s already in those first 8 overs. When they've got their opponents on the ropes, you have to say under McCullum, and I know Stokes isn't playing, but he's very much present at that match. They really do go for the jugular, don't they?
Absolutely. It's very much the attitude of the England side.
So here, 153 the lead, 9 wickets remaining, 77 overs left in the day. You'd have to take a couple off in between innings if at any point Essex want to pull out. The greatest likelihood is that they'll bat till 4:50 and then there'll be a shake of hands. As Webster begins his first over of the day, and that's a decent length outside off stump, watched through by Wesley. Some positive chirps of congratulations for that nice start, that first delivery from Webster, who has been a good pro for the Bears this year. He's only missed a couple of championship matches when the ones in the middle of the T20 when he was away playing Test cricket for Australia. Missed the whole of the T20, and he was considered a big signing for that competition. And again, he was away with the Aussies. And again, a similar ball back of a length outside off stump, left alone. Known here for his part in a great one-day season as an Essex player. Just a good cricketer. Decent bloke to have around. Enjoys his cricket, which I think is what you need from an overseas player, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely, yeah. Professional at all times. I know he enjoyed his club cricket here in Essex as well, which is partly the reason he ended up involved.
31 years of age now. It's a gentle approach, and then he draws an edge, and between them, Smith and Mosley have put it down. It was in between wicket-keeper and slip, and I'm trying to see who got the first touch on it, because both of them have made contact. I think Dan Mosley probably would have taken it, but I think Kai Smith deflects it onto the leg of Mosley, was what I saw at the first time of asking. It really split them right down the middle, and Webster will feel that he really got his man there. That's a life for the Essex skipper. It remains 36 for 1. Webster in again, no ball. Plays and misses at that, but no ball called. 38 for 1.
Does feel like all the chances, that one wicket that Warwickshire have of Thane, tempting Essex into playing those shots and finding the edge, does seem to be the danger for the home side.
Yeah, and it's discouraging them from trying to score at 4 or 5 and over. At the moment it's just above 3. Webster in again. It's that similar length outside off stump, and Wesley has no part of that one. And through to Kai Smith. Yeah, you've got to get it right behind the stumps. You've got to support your bowler. And that will annoy them that they didn't take advantage of that chance. Finally on at Old Trafford, where Lancashire need 473 to beat Glamorgan. They're 242 for 5. Lost over an hour this morning. Webster approaches once more, and again left alone by Wesley. And what Webster gives you, it's not sheer pace, but his height gives him a bit of extra bounce, but he's putting the ball pretty much in the same place again and again and again. He's got that ability to bowl a consistent line and length. He's really keeping Essex pretty honest here. One ball left in the over. Big, strong man, Webster. Bowls to Wesley. That's a bit shorter, but it's the same line, and it carries through to Smith once more. 12 overs gone, 38 for 1, Essex. And, I mean, we're about 99% sure now that Essex are quite happy to see this one out and take the 14 points, rather than setting a target that Warwickshire might fancy. Because you'd have to dangle a carrot, really, wouldn't you, I think, to create a result.
Yeah, you'd need to get yourself in a good position just to take any chance of Warwickshire being able to chase the total down out of it, but give yourself enough time to try and take those wickets. And we've seen how hard wickets have been to come by at certain times in this match as Rocchioli begins a new over. And he comes to Walter, that's slightly wider of the crease, and Walter punches it into the offside for a single, 39 for one. And particularly, I think, if you look at Yorkshire, who are heading for victory as well at Sussex, and the way in which the Division 1 table might look, depending how Worcestershire do. Durham have already lost. It's going to be quite tight there, and you don't want to risk not taking the points on offer as Rocchioli is in, and that one is turned into the leg side by Wesley for no run.
It's a bit like at the end of Bullseye. Are you going to risk the money you've won and the prizes to have a go at the big star prize? And it doesn't feel like it's in reach.
In comes Rocchioli to Wesley, nudges that one into the leg side. Gentle single taken.
See, Bullseye's past your frame of reference by altogether, isn't it?
Well, no, I'm aware of.
I'm aware of it.
I wasn't alive for it, but I'm aware of Bullseye.
That used to be the big gamble at the end. And often it meant that people who hadn't come first got a chance to go for the star prize.
Rocchioli's in. That one's defended by Walter. Roll back down the pitch to the bowler.
Rocchioli enjoys his cricket, but I think he's poured his heart and soul into these 4 championship games on this short-term contract for the Bears.
And he comes, and that's a waft from Paul Walter, which has squeezed its way through to the boundary for 4 byes.
Yeah, I think Rocchioli and wicketkeeper Kai Smith both thought that was going to hit then. Walter has had a big swing at it and missed, and I think expecting the bails to come off there. But there's been good bounce on a length throughout this week. We talked about how difficult it is for a seamer to get an LBW. In fact, I don't think we've seen a seamer get an LBW in this match. We haven't. They've all been for Critchley and Wesley.
Rocchioli is in, and this time Walter gets bat on it to defend. End of the over. 44 for 1. Lead of 161.
I think Webster's going to continue, but it's noticeable that Alex Davis is having a good chat with Rob Yates. It was his other main spin option. We may see a bit of Zen Mallet, we may see a bit of Dan Mosley as the afternoon goes on. I only keep on saying the England score because I just think it's bewildering when they're playing the way they are. They've had 10 overs now, 71 without loss, 14 boundaries in the first 10 overs. I mean, even 3 years ago, Test cricket just wasn't played that way.
Yeah, it's really changed the England approach, hasn't it?
So Bo Webster in, he really has latched onto a tremendous line and length, and that again has that bit of extra bounce that threatens the shoulder of the bat. And Wesley has a somewhat quizzical look at the area where that pitched and dabs it down. And you don't see an enormous amount of change in a hybrid over the course of 4 days. Those green tinges that were there on day 1 are still largely there, with the extra grass that was put on the surface. But Webster has been as menacing as anybody in this match. That one again just back of a length left alone. He and Snater have been the most impressive seamers. Obviously Critchley did a tremendous job. They came expensive, the 5 wickets, but in the context of the game, 5 for 171, it's a pretty decent effort. Got through 40 overs for his side. And you're willing to take 1 or 2 boundaries if you pick up a wicket subsequently. Webster, back of a length, left alone by Wesley. Darker clouds are still going to the right of the ground as we look down from the Sir Alistair Cook end, so that's good. Rewarding the people who've turned up on this final day. Not so many away to our left today. It was quite a gathering yesterday because they'd been taking a bit of cover from the rain. That's where the dry seats would have been after that sprinkling. Webster to Wesley, has to come forward in defence this time to a slightly fuller delivery. Pushes it up to Alex Davis at mid-off. Alex Davis just be pleased that his bowlers haven't let Essex get away here. If they'd found the boundary regularly and that if they were 75 for one now, they might be looking at things a little bit differently. As it stands, the lead is at 161. And we are within half an hour of lunch. And this is left alone outside off stump again.
Is it too early to talk about your rule?
I struggle to find anybody who dissents against my rule. Sometimes I get a spurious argument against my rule. But anybody who's listened to me over the last few years will know what it is. Shall I spill at the end of the over?
Yeah.
Webster approaches final ball of the over. There's 2 slips in position, but it's a solid defensive shot. It's a maiden, which again I think is a sign of Essex's intent at this point. 44 for 1 they are after 14 overs. They lead by 161. I was about to say how many overs are left in the game, but the scoreboard is telling us about Bo Webster's maiden over, which is fair enough. But eventually it'll tick back over and it'll tell me, there we go, we've got 74 overs left, deduct 2 for a change of innings. Tells you the equation is getting hard. So, very, very simple law to change for the championship for next season, please. If on day 4, by tea, there is no possibility of a result, and both captains agree that there's no possibility of a result, you shake hands at that point. You don't come out for the final session at all.
Rothesay begins a new over from the Sir Alistair Cook end into Paul Walter. Plays that one into the offside for no run. How many times have Warwickshire been in that situation this season, do you think?
This season, not often. Probably a couple of times. Over the last 5 years, quite often.
Rothesay is in, and he defends that one in a very similar run up to Dan Lawrence, isn't he? Rothesay, that sort of slightly unorthodox hopping in.
There's been at least one match at Edgbaston this season where by lunch on the first day we knew it was going to be a draw. You just knew.
In comes the Warwickshire spinner to Walter, pushes that one out into the offside for no run.
And it was of course during Kookaburra season. Have you got any objections to the rule?
No, I think the only times we've gone the distance on day 4 is Rothesay is in and he's got Walter on the back foot, misses it through to Smith for no run. I think the only times where we've gone the distance on day 4 this season for Essex, it's been a case of games where they've been in a losing position and coming back to a draw. It hasn't been as if there was nothing riding on it all the way through day 4, as Rothesay is in. That was cut away by Walter, but there's a good stop in the covers, and he won't get any runs for a reward for that shot. 44 for 1 remains the score.
This is, if you're only in the 2nd or 3rd over, innings of a match rather, this is where this law would kick in.
Rothesay is in, and Walter plays that one back to the bowler.
So let's assume that Essex are still batting at 340 when they go in for tea. There is no prospect of a result, and there is no point whatsoever in coming out to play 50 minutes of non-cricket where part-time bowlers are bowling, batters don't want to get out to them. It's nothing to do with paying spectators because you don't charge after the tea interval. People who've come for the day, they're ones who understand the rules of cricket, laws of cricket. They know it's not real cricket at that point. And we talk about cricketers being overworked, and yet sometimes we'll risk injury for 50 minutes of non-cricket. So if you look at this week's county championship games, this one you'd invoke the rule. Not Somerset is still alive. Somerset 34 for 2, still trail Notts by 72, so there's an issue there for them. So that's going to continue. Here's Webster, guided down towards 3rd by Wesley. There should be two. There's a race on between Barnard and Yates, which Barnard will win. And they'll take the two, 46 for 1. Hampshire look like they're going to set Worcestershire a target, so that's going to go to a finish. And Yorkshire and Sussex, that's going to play to a finish. Fine. Gloucestershire and Middlesex, that game's going nowhere. They haven't got on again today. They've barely started Gloucestershire's first innings. So that one, absolutely a draw. Once Kent get to 322 and avoid the following against Leicestershire, no point playing after tea in that one. The other ones have still got a chance of a result, but it's valid for about 3 matches today. Pushing forward is Wesley out into the offside, and there's no run. And nobody's come up with an argument against that I think has any conviction.
No, I think, like you say, if it's you're still in the first innings or that is going nowhere in the second, I'll take the point.
Yeah. Nobody gains from that cricket being played. Yes, you might see a wicket-keeper bowl. Well, the best one in the world. So, Webster approaches once more, left alone by Wesley. And there's no run. Because equally, you know today that if you had a spell of rain, understandably, there won't be a mad rush to get back on. Because I think we can reasonably assume at this point that Essex are unlikely to be looking to set a target now. They would need to have got a bit of a wriggle on here. This is what, the 16th over?
Yeah, I've been out there for what, an hour now.
Yeah, so they're going at 3 and over. Webster to Wesley once more, left alone outside off stump, but it's a no ball, second no ball that Webster has bowled, 48 for 1.
And now the chance of rain has increased, just looking at the forecast in the next hour or so, even more likely that we will have a shower.
So that would take more time out of the game. So, effectively they're 165 for 1. And you're coming down to a situation where with a change of innings there'd only be 70 overs left. If we get any rain there'll be fewer than that. And Essex are not in a position that they want to risk the points that they've got from this match, which would be 14. Full ball outside off stump, but well outside off stump, so Wesley doesn't show any interest again. So we're starting to reach anything after lunch is going to start to be a bit of a net session, really. I wouldn't call it off any earlier than tea. I just think it's what galls me. When
you wouldn't say don't bother coming back for day 4.
No. What galls me is coming back out at 4 o'clock to play 50 minutes of meaningless cricket. Webster in once more, back of a length, left alone by Wesley. All the debate about the amount of work that cricketers get through and the PCA wanting there to be fewer days of cricket. It just strikes me at times that it is madness. There are other things to look at, some of the travel in between games, or playing a T20 on a Saturday afternoon when you've been away from home on a Friday night, things like that. I've got a lot of sympathy for the players on that as well. But don't make them play 50 minutes for no good reason. Webster, Fuller outside off stump, but he's again hiding the ball as much as he can. 48 for 1 after 16 overs. 165 the Essex lead. We've got less than 20 minutes to go until lunch. And this match is heading the way that it's heading, you would say. England, I just, even now I get surprised. 12 overs gone. They're 92 without loss. So they're going at more than 7.5 and over. Crawley 47, Duckett 43. And there have now been 18 boundaries in the first 12 overs. Siraj 4 overs for 31. He's put his heart and soul into this series. Siraj. It's been a far more entertaining series for his presence. Deep 5 overs for 37 and Krishna 3 overs for 23. If England get a substantial first innings lead, you say they're closing in on the series win. Bowler short or not?
It's been good because for a long time for England there was a real question over the opening partnerships, wasn't there? And I know they've talked a bit about Crawley over the past season or so, but it does feel like there's way more stability at the top of the order. As Rothesay bowled a maiden last over, is into Walter, who defends that down the pitch, and so much of the conversation now is about the bowling unit and replacing the likes of Broad and Anderson consistently. Roccaccioli on his way in to Walter, just uses the wrists to play that one into the offside and come through for the single, 49 for 1.
But the troubling question, and you may have discussed this on your show, I don't know how much you talk about national things on your cricket show, Victoria, but who's the next opener? If there had been somebody absolutely knocking on the door when Crawley was badly out of form, who could play with that same level of positivity but maybe greater consistency, then a change might have been made. But you look round 18 first-class counties, where's the next England opener to play the way they want them to play as well?
I think there was a bit of talk before the Zimbabwe test, wasn't there? Was there an opportunity to test someone out as Roccaccioli is in? That one's turned into the leg side by Wesley, straight to the fielder though for no run. There was talk about Ben McKinney at Durham, wasn't there? But has he done enough? I mean, you never really know, do you, until you get that test at international level, as Roccaccioli is coming over the wicket, and there's Wesley coming down to sweep that one, pops up off the pad, I think it was, but there was a dive behind the stumps as well to try and take the catch.
Yeah, he may have got a bit of glove on that. It fell safe. There was Roccaccioli certainly was keen on the prospect of it having got a touch. Yeah, he thought there was something there.
And Subami's been in good form as well, hasn't he? As Roccaccioli is in on the back foot, Wesley turns that one into the leg side. It's picked up at close range for no run.
Well, I think Hasib Hamid is one of two potential answers to the question. I think the other one might be Tom Haynes at Sussex. I think they're the two closest.
In comes Roccaccioli, and that one's driven up to mid-on for no run, and the end of the over, there's a single from it, 49 for 1, which is a lead of 166. We've had 17 overs of the Essex second innings, and we've got a quarter of an hour to go until the lunch break.
And I know that the current selectors pick on what they can see rather than the numbers, but McKinney, 381 championship runs at 29, that's not really backing it up, is it? You need to be doing... Now, Crawley's been averaging something like that in championship cricket as well, but he isn't necessarily making the case that you want him to make. And sometimes there's a danger that you can kill off a young player. Not all of them are going to embrace the opportunity the way that one or two have. I mean, the person who's really impressed me now because of his consistency is Duckett. In that more often than not he makes a score. And that's credit to him. We have probably 4 more overs before we get to lunch here.
He's now out.
Oh, has Duckett got out just to spite me?
Yes.
Out to deep for 43. Caught by Durrell, so caught behind. 92 for 1, England in the 13th over. But he's missed out by scoring 40 odd. This year he's been getting 80s and 100s, which... He's taken his second chance, hasn't he, with both hands. Now, Webster, I think it might be the first time he's bowled to Walter in this innings. He seems to have seen a lot of Wesley, and Walter gets up onto his toes to defend the ball up towards mid-off, and there's no run. That may have gone quite close to that patch where the cameras get buried down below for international matches here. You get a lot of women's international cricket at Chelmsford over the years.
Yeah, the occasional... maybe one T20 this season as well, one of the double headers.
Webster wants to go round the wicket to the left-hander. That one is fuller and lower in bounce. There'll be no run. Roccaccioli decides to sprint in, and then he, in a comedic manner, berates Kai Smith for the fact that he hadn't run up to the stumps, the wicket-keeper. Roccaccioli pointing out they've got to stay on their toes. I think that was the reason behind it. Interesting to see if the Bears see him again in the future. He's certainly made a very good impression. 16 wickets he's taken in these 4 games. That's left alone outside off stump by Walter. Been 9 overs since a Sussex wicket fell. They've only scored 17 runs in that time, but they are trying to dig themselves out of a hole against Yorkshire. That's the other key score as far as Essex is concerned. Sussex 160 for 7, trailed by 163. I think they're going to need some help from the weather if they're going to see that one done through, but all you need is one of those Scarborough sea frets to come in. They're extraordinary. Webster to Walter once more, slower and fuller, and just nudges it back down the track, does Walter.
I haven't been to Scarborough. I have been to the ground, but I haven't been there when there's been cricket on.
It's an interesting place. If you think the race to get the best seats when the gates open here is good, you want to see the one at Scarborough. You see old people registering times that would get them age group British records. The 50-metre dash for an over 75. I did see a bit of a brutal incident there one morning. It was a bit sad. Here's Webster, full, and pushed into the offside again for no run. I was there for a couple of days, back in the 90s this was. I was a fledgling reporter, and on the second day I was in the ground before it was unlocked for the public. Sunday League game. They unlocked the gates 2 hours before the start. I was there earlier than that because that's the only way you can park. Otherwise, if you get there within an hour of play starting, you need to park in York and get the train. and there was an older lady who got knocked to the ground by a gentleman who was determined to get on one of the benches in front of the pavilion. It was all very unnecessary. He didn't go back to check on her either. As Webster completes a maiden with again a slower full ball that's just defended by Walter. No real intent again. 49 for 1 after 18 overs, a lead of 166. Yes, it was a little bit dog eat dog, that was, but it is an amazing atmosphere, Scarborough. Very busy outground. Lots of old seating there. And it used to be that you had to do your radio reports or Sunday League commentary sat in the crowd, and they were really willing to offer an opinion of your work. And it wouldn't tend to be flattering.
Good to have feedback.
Oh, it really is. You know, son, that's not what happened at all. So, oh, thanks.
It's very much like doing non-league football reports when there isn't really a designated press area. You're just amongst the fans and they get to hear your every word that you're telling the listeners. As Rothesay is about to begin a new over from the Sir Alistair Cook end. That one's clipped into the leg side by Wesley. He's running hard at this one. He wants at least 2 because it is going to be cut off down at the boundary. And that's the 50 up for Essex, which is the light applause you will hear around Chelmsford. 51 for 1. It's come up in the 19th over. And they've been at the crease 76 minutes, have Essex in their second innings.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever going to elicit anything stronger than polite applause, was it, really?
Rothesay into Wesley, and that's popped up, and there's a peel, but he hit that into the ground first. Did Wesley, just using the wrists?
Yeah, it was an appeal expecting a no, I think it's fair to say. They went through the motions of it. But when the ball lifts up to the back pad, and it's a short backward fine leg, not short backward fine leg, a backward short leg. That is the expression I'm looking for, and I'm now sticking with it. Is a backward short leg rather than a leg slip.
Rothesay is in. Wesley on the back foot defending that one. Remains 51 for 1 as we have a bit more sunshine and warmth hitting us in the commentary box.
I can feel that on my arms. That's nice.
Rothesay into Wesley, sweeps that one. Isn't got it hold of it completely, so it will just be a single. 52 for 1. Wesley is on to 25.
We were nearly joined by a butterfly then. It swooped past our box, went over the stand next to us, and is heading down towards the snack bar.
Like us in 10 minutes.
Well, I doubt I'll manage a swoop.
Rothesay is in. That's defended by Walter, who was coming forward to that one, stretching for it.
A gentle stroll will do it. To choose my burger of the day. Don't know what I'm going to have. I'm looking forward to a cold drink though.
had various drinks on the going here this morning. Rothesay is in, and Walter moves across his stumps to see that one through to Smith. End of the over, 52 for 1.
You're preciously guarding your reusable Wimbledon Championships cup.
I don't know if I ever told you, but I went to Wimbledon last year.
I don't get any luck in the ballot these days. I went 3 years in a row, like 20 years ago or so. It is an amazing place. I'm not a huge tennis fan, but there is something about a day at Wimbledon.
Well, this was very much business, not pleasure.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've done centre court, number 1 court, and the old number 2 court, which used to be elevated, so you could see quite a few of the outside courts when you were between games or even matches. You were able to watch what was going on in other courts, which was rather fun. Webbs is going to continue, and he'll continue his rivalry with Wesley, who's back at this end. And his first ball from the Graham Gooch end is left alone outside off stump, which is a familiar theme. But Essex have come out with a lack of intent, and that, I'm not being judgmental, negative, critical at all. I think it's entirely understandable at this point of a tiring season to keep hold of what you've got.
And so much depended on how long it took this morning to take that final wicket, and how much Warwickshire could add to the overnight score on what we would see from Essex when they got the bat again.
Webster in, forward in defence is Wesley. It was just over 20 minutes that Hallen Dolby and Barnard held things up. 20 runs were added to the total, or thereabouts. No, it was 20. And Ed Barnard completed a very fine century. He ended up 108 not out. He came in averaging 50. He's going to be even better off than that now. He'll be looking about 57 in the championship this season. 3 centuries and 3 50s. Webster outside off stump, left alone again by Wesley. Umpire Lungley just having a quick look at Webster's follow through. Victoria's got a friend in the press box.
It's the chief executive.
Well,
You can't ignore him.
say friend in high places. That's only because he's gone up 2 steps. Which he genuinely has. As this next ball is covered up on off stump by Wesley and played back into the follow through of Webster, who hurls it back to Alex Davis for another shine. 4 balls into another quiet over. So 4.4 overs, none for 6 Webster. And he's just probing outside off stump again and again and again. And he had Wesley dropped when he was on 19. He's now on 25. And he faces once more, again defensively outside off stump. This will probably, well, I'm sure it'll be Webster's last ball of the session, because we'll go into a final over. They could squeeze 2 in, but I don't think they've got any great incentive to do so. And it might be the last we see of Webster bowl in this game, because we'll see what happens after lunch. I think we might see quite a lot of spin in that session. Still the 2 slips in place. Webster inching Zen Malik in by about 1.5 yards. And now approaches once more, right arm over the wicket, and it's back of a length, and it goes through above stump high, left alone. Bat raised by Wesley, and we are less than 3 minutes away from lunch. So Warwickshire have done their job this morning. They batted for 20 odd minutes, and then they prevented Essex from scoring at any sort of high rate. Essex themselves, I suspect, probably made their mind up yesterday evening that it might not be a day for setting a chase, not least with the bowlers having a lot of overs in their legs. Porter and Cook between them, 1 for 155. And if your 2 prime bowlers aren't getting an awful lot of joy, then perhaps discretion is the better part of valour. Unbeaten 50 for Zach Crawley. He's 52 not out. England 109 for 1.
So this will be the final over before lunch then. Rothesay to bowl it from the Sir Alistair Cook end. Paul Walter waits, and that one is edge, but I think it doesn't carry to slip.
Yeah, Roccaccioli, who felt he's had no luck there. I think he was trying to catch it right on the half volley, Alex Davis. That nick, if he dived forward, he might have got his hands onto the ball. I think he felt it was going to carry a bit further than it did.
In comes Roccaccioli around the wicket to Walter, who pushes that one back to the bowler.
Somebody might want a word with Corey. Don't get through it too quickly, son.
Stroll back to your mark a little slower. Roccaccioli in, and Walter just hits that one uppishly into the offside. It's collected for no run.
Into the final minute, these 3 balls should do it. I'll rejoin you after lunch because I better go and...
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard.
my
Richard will
report.
go and update listeners. I will do the same on BBC Essex very shortly. 52 for 1 remains the score. Roccaccioli is in and Walter waits. There's a big appeal for him being hit on the pad, but he was outside the line, you would fancy, and the umpire gives a slight shake of the head. Walter is on 17, alongside his captain Wesley at the non-strikers end on 25. Noah Thane, who opened alongside Walter, went for 1 as he gets down and sweeps does Walter, and that will find its way to the deep square leg boundary for 4 runs. So Walter, having survived a couple of nervy moments in this over, gets hold of that delivery from Roccaccioli, and the lead goes to 173 for Essex as we approach the lunch break. Bit of encouragement around the ground as Roccaccioli is in, and Walter does the exact same. Gets down on 1 knee, 4 runs to end the morning session and add to Essex's total. So they'll go in at lunch on 60 for 1. Walter on to 25, the same score as Wesley, and that is their 50-run partnership to finish as well. So Essex, having come out with around half an hour of play gone this morning on day 4, found runs hard to come by to start with. They lost the early wicket of Noah Thane, but they have a lead of 177 going in at lunchtime. We'll see how the afternoon session pans out with the ball for Warwickshire and with Essex. If they could score runs quickly, could they maybe set up a target, or will they be happy to settle for batting long and making sure they pick up the draw in this game? I'll update the BBC Essex listeners, and then I will be back with you and Richard after the lunch break to take you through the afternoon session.
Happened in Pump Lane last Tuesday, the 22nd of July. The rider, a local man in his life, suffered serious injuries, died in hospital on Sunday. Police say the driver of the car stopped on the scene, and at this stage there have not been any arrests. President Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff has visited one of the widely criticised aid distribution by an organisation backed by Israel and the US. He was accompanied by the US ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, who posted images of the site. BBC correspondent in Jerusalem, Penny Enada, has given more details.
They've gone there to inspect the aid distribution method that's been set up by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and we've had a tweet from the US ambassador praising the work of the DHS. The DHS has been linked to almost daily deadly incidents. Just yesterday, the United Nations reporting that they've counted over 850.
This is Richard Welford at Chelmsford, where at lunch we're closing in on what will be a draw a little bit later today between Essex and Warwickshire. Essex going very quietly along in their second innings. They're 60 for 1. They lead by 177 runs, and there's no real sign that they want to set a target and try and bowl Warwickshire at a second time. Ed Barnard completed his 3rd championship century of the season earlier. Very attractive innings, 108 not out he ended. But this one eventually will fritter away in a draw. Essex 60 for 1 at
Sport
lunch.
in cricket, it's the final day of the county championship match between Essex and Warwickshire. Just an update now from Victoria Police County.
It does look like this one will head for a draw. Essex are 60 for 1 at lunch, having eventually bowled Warwickshire out this morning for 485. It took around 25 minutes for them to do so. And when Essex came out with the bat, with Noah Thane joining Paul Walter at the top of the order in the absence of Dean Elgar, who's being assessed by the medical team, there was no real urgency. They haven't exactly raced along in their runs. So they go in at lunch 60 for 1, leading Warwickshire by 177. So unless they really up the run rate in this afternoon session and set a target for Warwickshire and try and bowl them out, it does look like we are heading for a draw at Chelmsford.
And Tom Wesley.
Welcome back to the afternoon session on day 4 between Essex and Warwickshire at Chelmsford. Essex resuming on 60 for 1, a lead of 177. Tom Wesley and Paul Walter both on 25, hitting the 50-run partnership on the final ball before the lunch break. And Warwickshire, having been dismissed for 485 this morning, have bowled well in the wicket of Noah Thane early on in the Essex second innings, but there hasn't been any real pace to the runs on the board for Essex, which suggests that we are heading for a draw. It's Victoria Polly from BBC Essex Sport with you. And Richard Wilford from BBC WM.
Yeah, it's been a fairly slow rate, hasn't it? Been the slowest scoring rate of the match so far. And they only got to 60 because of 2 boundaries in the last 3 balls before the interval that Walter took off Corey Rothesay. Ollie Hannon-Dolby, interestingly, he's going to have another bowl. He's going to come on from the Graham Gooch end. There is the threat of a bit of weather, but we were saying that all of yesterday and only lost 7 overs, but noticeably the breeze has got up and the trees are moving quite a bit, which would tend to suggest that something may be on its way. I did that something there was Ollie Hannon-Dolby. He was on his way and bowls just back of a length and gets good carry through to Kai Smith. And there's no run.
And we had a brief chat with the Essex groundsman, Stuart Kerrison, when we were down getting lunch, and he was preparing in case he and his ground staff need to get on at any point if that rain comes.
What you're saying is they were expecting some work.
They were getting lunch in just in case.
Yeah. And normally your ground staff have the good radar available to them that is a bit more accurate. There's Hannon-Dolby with a ball that almost hurries through Wesley there. Chopped down on it quite late. 2 left foot flicks from Dan Mosley, pretending he's Ollie Watkins. Then picks it up and throws it to Alex Davis. We can't have a conversation, me and Dan, without him talking about Villa. He's probably got claret and blue socks on. They still won't be as nice as those ones you mentioned earlier, Ethan Bamber's socks yesterday. They were garish.
Sort of like comic book colours.
Hannon-Dolby to Wesley once more, back of a length, left alone. It does swing a little bit after it passes the stumps, and is taken by Smith moving to his left. Yeah, I couldn't remember. There was some sunny yellow flashes on them. Actually, were they largely yellow with blue and all sorts of silver? They were bold.
Yeah.
I did very nearly take a photograph of them. He was too weary to get away if I'd chosen to. Rothesay, by the way, will be bowling from the near end, judging by the warm-ups that he's going through at the moment. So, Hannon-Dolby is in.